This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, now we know the price of saying mean things, untrue things, of lying and hurting people's feelings. It's $1 billion. So if I'm Dr. Fauci, I start transferring all my money to my wife and my kids and hiding it in offshore accounts. They're going to come for you, Dr. Fauci. Hell, if I'm the New York Times and I lied for 3 years about Donald Trump and hookers peeing on each other in a bed, I would say that's worth at least $1 billion. We now know you can't just lie about people. So I'm going to say all those people who lied about Nicholas Sandmann, you're in trouble. I know some of them already paid him, but the price is going up. We got the Alex Jones story. The families of the Sandy Hook kids, they won. Good for them. I'm not sure they're ever going to see $1, but we have the actual live commentary, play-by-play from Alex Jones as the verdict came down. I will say nobody likes. I've never liked Alex Jones. I hate conspiracy theorists. I hate people that say, "Oh, 9/11 was an inside job." I'm going to say, Rosie O'Donnell, you're in trouble because you said 9/11 was an inside job and you hurt the people, the families of the deceased on 9/11. I would say that's worth at least $1 billion. It is a whole new world out there. We'll go over that. Joe Biden, hell, if you get fined or punished for lying, Joe Biden's going to be broke, man. I know he's worth tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, but he's in trouble. The storyteller in chief was telling lies again yesterday. Someone has to tell him. He's got to. There are some people who are checking, Joe. They're checking when you tell these lies. AOC was heckled at a town hall meeting by my people. The anti-war crowd is going after AOC, and it's about time. We need more of this. Go after all these warmongers. AOC, Liz Warren, Ayanna Pressley. They're all escalating, supporting the war in Ukraine, which will include us soon enough. Lots of scumbags in the Biden administration, lots of really vile people, but I think we have the worst guy, the worst person in the Biden administration. We will play you the sound from this scumbag, Mayorkas. It's incredible. Bob Kraft gives $50 million to Mass General, which is a tough day for the Boston Globe. They actually had to report it. The most beloved owner in New England is such a charitable guy. We got another pit bull attack, a pit bull that bit the leg off a grandmother in North Carolina. Any day now, we'll be reporting on the pit bull in Ironhead's home, killing. Hopefully, it's not your kids. Hopefully, it hacks your leg off and doesn't kill your kid. But
never.
Again, I ask, what the hell do you want to have pit bull for? We'll get into that, and we'll do our NFL picks. I'm on a roll. I just did the math. I'm 10-2. In the last 3 weeks. We'll keep it rolling today with our guy, Montate. We'll get into that and lots more on today's Callahan Show, presented by Bastion Pens. All right, we have to qualify this every single time. Alex Jones he's detestable. What he did to the families in Sandy Hook is disgusting. I said it at the time. I'll say it again. I understand he has a bunch of lunatics in his audience. He makes a lot of money spreading these insane conspiracy theories. He said the Sandy Hook kids weren't real. They were crisis actors. The parents were crisis actors. I'm sure that hurt. I'm sure that was really, really painful for these families who'd been through enough. I have no problem with them going after him, suing him, holding him accountable. I'm just not sure what this accomplishes. If you haven't heard the story, if you haven't been paying attention, I got it here, right here. Let's see. I think this is from the AP. No, this. Let me do the Associated Press story because he's already lost one trial in Texas. The damages were $50 million. Yesterday in Connecticut, a few other Sandy Hook families and a first responder sued him for defamation and were awarded. Jurors ordered conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to pay nearly $1 billion to Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting victim's family and an FBI agent who said he turned their loss and trauma into years of torment by promoting the lie that the rampage was a hoax. The $965 million verdict is the second big judgment against the InfoWars host for spreading the myth that the deadliest school shooting in U.S. history never happened, and that the grieving families seen in news coverage were actors hired as part of a plot to take away people's guns. The verdict came in a defamation lawsuit filed by some of the families of the 26 people who were killed in 2012, plus an FBI agent. A Texas jury had awarded $50 million to parents of another slain child. They were thrilled. They rejoiced. Obviously, there's not a lot of joy in the lives of these poor families. Your heart breaks for them when you hear about them being harassed. One family told of some scumbag taking a piss on their child's grave and yelling things at them and harassing them online. Obviously, they've gone through hell. This didn't help. Alex Jones is an actor. Alex Jones is pretending. He doesn't believe they were actors. He knows this was real, but he's playing to his audience and he's making a fortune. We went over the numbers. What was it, a couple months ago? Maybe it was during the last trial where he made, what was it? In one day, he made $800,000 selling his stuff. I don't know anybody who watches him, who listens to him, or who buys his stuff, his I don't know what, mugs, shirts. I know he sells those survivalist kits. So when you go down in your bunker, you have your canned meat and powdered milk so you can survive. He obviously has an audience. The production of his stuff, when you see it online or you see it played in court, is first class. I'm jealous of his studio, and I'm certainly jealous of his ability to push merch. And I have no problem with them suing. I just wonder what kind of precedent this sets. As I'm watching this, and I'm thinking these poor aggrieved families, they know they're not getting $1 billion. They're probably not getting a penny. Alex Jones, the company, Free Speech, whatever it's called, Free Speech Styling or something, his parent company, they've already declared bankruptcy. Alex Jones has already transferred his real estate to his wife. He obviously is going to protect his assets. I don't know what he ends up paying. But as I'm watching this, I'm saying, what if they had sat down after the verdict with the families, with Jones's lawyers, and said, okay, he has, I don't know, $8 million, $10 million right here sitting in an account. Let's work this out. Let's give every family, $500,000 or $1 million, and literally write a check right here and now. Sit down in a room. And then Alex Jones continues to do what he does. Probably he's a little more careful when it comes to lying about grieving families these days. But those people, what if those families had each walked away yesterday with like $800,000? Wouldn't that have made more sense? And he could go do what he's doing, and they could go home and obviously feel a little better that they got some justice, they got some money. They're going to be chasing this money till the end of time. They're going to continue. There's more lawsuits coming. So he's declared bankruptcy. He's never going to pay anything. I fear. You're not going to settle with him now. You won. You're going to attach his income and do everything he can to get his money, but he's going to do everything to hide it, as he said yesterday. We'll get to this insane live commentary as he's sitting in his studio watching the verdict come down, and it sounds like, boy, they kicked his ass. They really took him to the cleaners. But you're watching saying, are they going to get any of the money? They win the verdict. They take a bow. They take a victory lap, as well they should. but I just wonder if they're going to see a dime. I mean, he certainly doesn't have $1 billion. They're not going to see $1 billion. So what was the point of awarding them that kind of number? It just seems ridiculous to think they're going to get that award. Couple more things. Since we're putting a price on people's grief, he said stupid things, insensitive things, hurtful things, vicious, mean things about these families, just crazy things. It's amazing that he even said them without thinking, will there be any repercussions for this? This was 10 years ago. The world was different then. We didn't have this current climate where speech is violence, and you get punished. You get your life taken away if you say the wrong thing. We can get into the Kanye West thing. JP Morgan told Kanye West they don't want his business. Take all your money out of all your accounts and get lost because he said some anti-Semitic things. PayPal is planning to fine customers for wrong think, for speech they don't like. It is a scary time in America for the First Amendment. It's a scary, when you look back 10, 15, 20 years, it's hard to believe that we've just abandoned the First Amendment and you can't speak freely. At least you can't speak freely if you're one side of the aisle. If you're Fauci, you could say what you want. You could be wrong a million times. People can die because of things you said and did. When you said ivermectin doesn't work, and then we learn out it does, you wonder how many lives would have been saved if Fauci wasn't such a venal liar. The New York Times can say what they want, about Donald Trump and make up stories, literally make up stories about him having hookers pee on each other on Obama's bed, just completely fabricated. They did that for 3 years. They gave themselves Pulitzers for it. No price to pay. Again, lots of people had these crazy conspiracy theories about 9/11. I mentioned Rosie O'Donnell. She's not the only one. Lots of people, celebrities, said it's an inside job. And I'm like, what? Do they all get sued now for causing pain to the families of 9/11? There's a lot of them, man. A lot of them. There's a lot of lying that causes a lot of pain. Are they all actionable now? Are they all going to sue because of this new precedent? Even though the family's not going to get money, probably not going to get any money. And I can't help but laugh at the thought that O.J. Simpson was found liable for the death of 2 people. Obviously, he murdered 2 people in cold blood. He almost cut his ex-wife's head off. He murdered her friend, Ron Goldman. Obviously, he's a murderer. He won in court because of this corrupt jury, but in criminal court, he lost in civil court, ordered to pay $33 million. So you kill 2 people, you're ordered to pay $33 million. You say mean things about the families of kids who were murdered by somebody. You didn't touch them. You just said stupid things, wrong, untrue things that caused pain. You have to pay $1 billion. Neither of them. OJ for some reason doesn't pay anything. He just goes and plays golf in Las Vegas every day and does these videos, by the putting green. And you look and you say, shouldn't he be broke? Shouldn't he be a busted, broke old man? For some reason, he's not. So I don't know what kind of precedent this sets, what kind of doors it opens, but every time you hear someone make stuff up about people, make stuff up about, the Trump family and, he, whatever, you name it. Oh, he stole nuclear secrets. He had nuclear secrets in Mar-a-Lago. You say, okay, they're lying, intentionally lying about him. They know it's not true and they're lying anyway. What should that cost them? It is a whole new world when you think about it. But let's get to crazy Alex Jones. And again, I can't imagine listening to a show. I've seen him on with Joe Rogan. I've seen him with I think he's on Steven Crowder regularly. He's crazy. His mind goes a mile a minute. He's got all these bizarre conspiracy theories. I guess you have to distinguish just the silly ones about aliens and plots by the government to poison people. You have to separate those from things that are that are personal, that are causing harm to individuals, because those crazy conspiracy theories are now um, going are now going to cost him millions, if not billions. So you have to separate I guess his audience will still be there because they like when he talks about whatever aliens or efforts by the government to control, mind control, or eject computer chips or I
They
don't know.
basically did that over the last 2 years.
Yeah, hey, there are people out there, and I've seen the accounts who track this, and they will explain to you how many times he's been right. He's been right about a lot of things, which is too bad. Is a guy trying to hold the government accountable is good. It's great, but he goes off the rails, as you know. If he just stuck to the madness of COVID and the lockdowns and the tyranny, I think he'd be more, well, I don't know about more popular, but he'd certainly be in less trouble. It wouldn't cost him as much, I don't think. But if you were wondering if this would shut him down, some people think, oh, he's done. He's done. He's not done. He's not done. He wasn't even done yesterday. The day the verdict came down, he was in his studio watching live as I don't know who was the jury foreman or the bailiff who was ever reading these verdicts. It went on forever. I was watching live, and it just went on forever because they had so many verdicts, so much money to run down. He lost on every count. He lost, and you could hear the cha-ching, cha-ching the whole time, and it almost made it to $1 billion. And Alex Jones cheered it on. He cheered on the reading of the verdicts and the total damages that were awarded these families. And the camera showed the families, and they were mostly crying, and they weren't celebrating. They were solemn. They weren't rejoicing. Even outside the courtroom when they spoke to the media, there was no smiles, no cheers. The only one cheering was Alex Jones. That's how bizarre this was. But when he was in court, he knew he had no shot. He knew he was going to lose. It was like one of those January 6th juries in D.C. He had no chance. The thing was, the outcome was clear from the beginning. So he sat in the studio as the numbers, as the total just got rung up, and it was pretty bizarre. I saw it on Twitter. I saw it online. I don't know how many people were watching, but I'm guessing it was a big day for Alex Jones. And then he asked his audience to buy stuff, to support him in this time of need. Man, what a lunatic. Anyway, can we watch some of Alex Jones as the verdict was being read?
They want to scare everybody away from freedom and scare us away from questioning Uvalde and what really happened there, or Parkland or any other event. And guess what? We're not scared, and we're not going away, and we're not going to stop. And literally, for hundreds of thousands of dollars, I can keep them in court for years. I can appeal this stuff. We can stand up against this travesty, against the billions of dollars they want. It's a joke. So please go to InfoWarsStore.com and get Vitamin Mineral Fusion, get X3, get all the great products that are there that keep us on air at InfoWarsStore.com.
He's selling, what was it, mineral whatever, an X3?
It's like energy drinks and it's basically like Gatorade, I think, one of them.
Do you have any of him cheering as the verdict came down? Because he's literally going, yes, as each number is being read. But that's what he wants people to do. Go and buy that crap that he's selling to support him in this time of need. He literally yells out, do any of these people think they're actually going to get any money? He is taunting the judge, the jury, the plaintiffs, and I guess he's got nothing to lose. Obviously there's no sympathy for him. I have no sympathy for him. I just find it incredible that a man can lose, allegedly, in theory, lose $1 billion for saying stupid, incorrect, inflammatory, painful, hurtful things. I mean, don't we kind of see that every day from someone on, on whatever, in TV, radio, podcasting, online? Don't we see it every day? I mean, we're going to get to the lies told. I want to know what Mayorkas, our Secretary for Homeland Security, what he has to pay for the lies he told about innocent border guards. I want to know what Joe Biden has to pay to innocent border guards. And we know now, we'll get to it. We know now they knew they were lying about these guys. Isn't that the requisite? You need to know it's false and say it anyway. I mean, that's the definition of libel or malice. You know it's false. You say it anyway. Okay, that's what Mayorkas and Biden did about the innocent border guards. So how much do they have to pay? I mean, it's a whole new world, a whole new precedent. But I understand it only works one way. If Mayorkas were a conservative, he'd be in trouble, just like Biden. And we can get to this too. Biden gave the Saudis a quid pro quo. He asked them to increase production before the midterms to affect the election, which is exactly what Trump was impeached for. So Biden today, we know, if you haven't heard the news, breaking, the Saudis admit or announce that it was a quid pro quo from Joe. That's impeachable if you're a Republican. If you're a Democrat, whatever, just business as usual. So we have two standards. Alex Jones is right about this. This is, at some level, a war on speech. You might welcome it. People might say, good, let's put people like Alex Jones out of business. But do you understand how many lies were told on MSNBC and CNN about Donald Trump over the last 6 years, beginning with the Russia hoax, which was completely made up? Your FBI offered $1 million of your tax dollars to a disgraced British spy to dig up dirt on Donald Trump, the candidate. What is that? How much should they have to pay? They were trying to. How about the people, the 50 people, intelligence folks who lied about the Hunter Biden laptop? They knew they were lying. They lied anyway to affect an election. They won. It worked. And now, I don't know if you saw, one of them appeared with Brett Baer on Fox and said he'd do it again. We just said it had the earmarks of Russian propaganda. That's a lie. He knew it was a lie. He did it anyway to get Biden elected. How much should he have to pay? If we're suddenly going to put a price tag on lies, I'd say Alex Jones, got what he deserved. Now let's get to all the other frickin' liars who are getting away scot-free. But do we have Jones cheering here before we move on?
Yeah, look how eagerly he's watching along.
He already is prepared for this. He knows they're going to be a big award. He doesn't know whether it'll be 500,000 or $1 billion, but he knows. 500 million or $1 billion. But he's already, like I said, transferred his real estate to his wife, and he's taken all these steps, and he's going to appeal, and he's going to drag it out forever. But I guess he figured he had nothing to lose. It didn't matter. Hell, in court, he was pretty belligerent. He knew he wasn't going to win. He said it a bunch of times. He says he's apologized over and over again to the families, and that's good. He should, and there should be some kind of, punitive damages. But what's the point of going to $1 billion when you know that he can't pay that? Of course, that means his next step is, how does he avoid paying it? What steps? What, bankruptcy or transferring real estate or whatever? He will take whatever steps he has to make sure he never pays them a nickel. If you had actually sat down and said, you're worth millions, let's see, what can you afford to pay these families to make this right? You said you're sorry. You said you were wrong. Now let's make these people whole and pay them something. And then they could walk out of court with whatever, $800,000 in their pocket. Wouldn't that make more sense? What am I missing? You make it $1 billion. You assure that they're going to get nothing. But anyway, let's listen to Alex Jones as the numbers are being read, and then we will move on.
Roman number 1, compensatory damages, instructions, fill in both numbers for each plaintiff, then go to section 2, Please enter your damages assessments for each plaintiff on the lines below. To plaintiff Robbie Parker, A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $60 million.
Yeah.
B, emotional distress damages past and future, $60 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Robert Parker and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, and line A and line B, total $120 million.
Yeah.
Controlled by jury.
Yeah.
Plaintiff David Wheeler, A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $25 million. B, emotional distress damages past and future, $30 million.
Yeah.
Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff David Wheeler and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, and line A and line B, $55 million.
Yeah.
It's just,
How do they get that figure? I don't understand that.
I don't know. I know. Why aren't they all the same? I guess if different levels. I mean, there's no question that they have suffered, and like they said, they've been harassed, obviously online from a lot of Jones followers. But how idiotic! We said it. I said at the time, I was on the radio. How idiotic is it to think dead kids are crisis actors? There were people who said it about the Boston Marathon bombings. I think everybody who was there, all 260 who were injured, should sue the people who said the Boston Marathon bombing was an inside job and there was CIA and FBI there. There's just these insane people who think it makes them seem, deep and thoughtful to say there's something more than just two Muslim terrorists blowing up the marathon. Well, now we know it's actionable. Sue them if you're one of the injured, if you're one of the parties who suffered on a marathon at the marathon bombing. Go after them. Hey, we now know if you espouse these crazy conspiracy theories about 9/11 or about the marathon bombing or Parkland, go after them. The precedent's been set. I wouldn't say ask for $1 billion. I'd say make it more reasonable, but go after them. Go after Rosie O'Donnell. If you suffered on 9/11, she said it was an inside job. She said everybody knows fire can't melt steel. She's a moron, but she also caused you great pain. Go after her. Sue her. Sue everybody, as the Jerky Boys said. But we'll see how it goes. He's facing more trials and more suits. Man, his life must be complicated. You know what's amazing? I was just reading about. He's only 48 years old. See that?
Rough looking 48 sometimes.
You got to get in shape, Ironhead. You can't look like that when you're 48. I would have guessed he's pushing 60, and he's just a. I told you I saw him in D.C. on the Capitol Hill steps after the inauguration of Trump in 2016 or 2017. When Antifa was burning cars and wrecking things and painting, and it wasn't an insurrection. It was just a peaceful protest. But he was on the steps of the Capitol doing a commentary, and he's got 40 or 50 people following around. He's got a whole crew, cameras and mics and security. I don't know how he does it. I guess from selling that junk, but he has got some serious financial backing, and he's smoking a cigarette too. He's all fat and he's all, looks very unhealthy. So he'll probably croak before he pays a nickel. But anyway, speaking of croaking, let's get to Beau Biden. I got to say, this is when he was in shape.
This is pretty good to me. I'll take it.
What year was that? Because that ain't. He doesn't look like that anymore. And
no, this was he was selling like fat burning supplements. And on the left,
I'm just going to say he probably altered the photo. I wouldn't put it past him. 45 days. Why don't you buy some of that, Ironhead? He needs your help.
He's clearly sucking it in and like do it. He got like a spray tan or something before the after picture. It's very funny.
You know what? I think he's vile, but he should be on Twitter. He should be on Facebook. He should have the right to speak. The First Amendment isn't designed to protect populist speech or correct speech. It's designed to protect speech that offends you. Hate speech is protected by the First Amendment. You're allowed to. That's how it used to be. I'm old enough to remember when speech was sacrosanct. You protected speech, even the ACLU protected the Illinois Nazis. Those were the days. Now the ACLU's out there promoting gender transition surgeries. They've lost their way. Many liberals have lost their way. The First Amendment is for people like Alex Jones, people who say things you don't like. Anyway, speaking of things you don't like, Joe Biden was at it again. Oh, I'm sorry. The storyteller in chief was shaving the ragged edges off the truth again. I'm taking the words right from the New York Times. But this is so despicable. Obviously, I told you this before we started recording. We had to start with Alex Jones because I feel like we've started with Biden's lies for like 8 straight days. He's just relentless. And I have to think somebody tells him in those, in Air Force One or in the Oval Office or wherever, someone has to be telling him, nobody believes you, Joe. They don't believe 2 firefighters almost died at your house fire. It's a lie. You just can't help yourself. Stop lying.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
That's one thing when he can't put a sentence together. But when he lies about the death of his son, I mean, this to me is one of the most despicable things he does and one of the most revealing. Think of people not people you respect, people of that generation, your father, your grandfather, whatever. I mean, they don't. Someone who ages gracefully is not insecure, is not needy, is not looking for validation from other people. Again, this is the president. He holds the highest office in the land. It's not enough. He needs daily affirmation that he's, a working class guy, a tough guy, that he's had a tough life. So he makes up stories about driving an 18-wheeler or sitting around the kitchen table trying to decide whether they can afford food. All lies. I hate liars. I just hate liars. What is the point? People don't respect you. They're not, and I guess maybe some people do, but most people don't. You're not going to win them over by lying about something, particularly if it's something everybody knows is a lie. He's told this lie many, many, many times. You know how I really feel sorry for? And I'm dead serious. Beau Biden. I was reading about him. Seems like a stand-up guy. Seems like a tough guy. He was he was in the military. He was in Iraq. He won the Bronze Star. He was the Attorney General, and I mean, he's raised by this guy, and it seemed like he turned out okay, unlike Hunter. So he dies of a brain cancer, and like 10 minutes later, his brother is banging his widow. And then his brother's banging his widow's sister. I mean, and then his father is lying about him. Talk about disrespecting the dead, disrespecting the memory of Beau Biden. These people, oh yeah, I love Beau. Beau's the greatest. Okay, and then he's making the moves on his wife while she's grieving. These are just low-quality people, the Bidens, just real low-class people. Anyway, he's out there in Leadville, Colorado, home of the most storied ultramarathon, and he's just telling stories. He's just making up stories. He said, I don't know, we don't have time to play it all, but he said he used to climb up the mountain, the Grand Canyon, many times. He said he taught his kids to ski in Colorado. That's not true. He's just making it up.
He said that and he said like most Easterners do, which is friggin' stupid.
Yeah, all those working class families in Delaware, they always vacation in Vail. That's the thing. Sometimes it slips out that he's a pampered rich puke who's been a pampered rich puke his whole life. He probably did ski in Vail when he was younger because he was a little rich kid. Everything he talks about struggling working class, that's all lies. Anyway, I don't know why this bothers me. It's just because everybody knows his son didn't die in Iraq. His oldest son died tragically. He seemed like a stand-up guy. He died of brain cancer in Walter Reed. It's tragic. And he uses it to I guess, to impress an audience and, in a way, to kind of steal the grief of Gold Star families. I'm one of you, a Gold Star family. And I can't imagine being an actual Gold Star family, losing a loved one in a war in Iraq that he supported, or losing your legs like Johnny Joey Jones, who tweeted about this, said he had some thoughts, but he's going to bite his tongue for now. And I'm sure there are a lot of veterans like that. So you're an actual Gold Star family, and you had to listen to this ghoul steal, kind of hone in, that kind of get kind of steal your grief. You've heard of stolen valor. This man steals grief. He wants you to think he's a Gold Star father. He is not, and everybody knows it. And he says it and gets called out, and says it again. Let's listen to the latest example. You know this isn't a teleprompter. You know his staff is saying, Joe, he didn't die in Iraq. Stop saying that. Stop lying about your dead son. He's just so despicable. Go ahead, play it.
Soldiers of campaign learned to scale rock, ski, and survive, preparing for the war they were about to fight. The pivotal moment came, as the senator pointed out, in February 1945.
Sounds sick.
Surprise Allied attack on the mountains in Italy. Imagine. It's pitch black, punishing cold. The mission, high in the mountains, that hinged on the skill, strength, and stamina that could have only been gained in a place like this. They're more than ready. They were more than ready that day and since then. American soldiers of the 10th Mountain Division scaled that 1,800-foot cliff at night, caught the Germans by surprise, captured key positions, and broke through the German defense line at a pivotal point in the war. Just imagine, I mean this sincerely, I say this as a father of a man who won the Bronze Star, the Conspicuous Service Medal, and lost his life in Iraq. Imagine the courage, the daring.
Okay. He didn't lose his life in Iraq. If you will lie about your dead child, you will lie about anything.
Anything.
And we know he will lie about anything. Anything. His driving an 18-wheeler, going to see Nelson Mandela. Again, I recommend the piece in the Federalist that chronicles his 50 years of lying. The New York Times would like you to think he's folksy and he's just trying to ingratiate himself with the folks. He's insane. He's compulsive. He's insane. I mean, it's a sickness.
Yeah.
His lying is a sickness. He knows nobody believes his son died in Iraq, and he says it again. Why? Why are you using your dead child to impress a bunch of, I don't know, nobodies sitting there in the audience in Colorado, a bunch of hacks, probably a bunch of Democrat politicians, and you're trying to oppress them by telling them your son died in Iraq? Isn't it sad enough? Isn't it tragic enough that he died? You have to lie about it. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time. We feel like I've spent the whole freaking week talking about his lies. Let us move on. Let me do Shay, and then we're going to get to AOC. My people went after AOC, and we're going to get to the worst person in the Biden administration. That's something. That is something. Being the worst person. That's like being the best quarterback in the Manning family. That is quite an honor, being the worst person in the Biden administration. But we got it, and we got some great, crazy left-wing hippies, my people, going after AOC. But first, this was at a town hall, I believe, in New York City, correct? I think it's at a town hall in New York City. I saw this late last night. I told you this. I said, there's going to be a day I'm joining the purple-haired, nose ring, tattooed lunatics who will be marching against the war, and I'm going to march with them. I'm going to be in Harvard Square. That's where I'm going to start. We're going to escalate this war eventually, probably in the next 2.5 years, under this cognitive mess of a president. We're going to put boots on the ground in Ukraine. We're going to commence bombing. It's going to happen. And it's with the support, with the votes, with the passionate backing of people, of frauds and liars like AOC, Liz Warren, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley. These alleged liberals support this pointless foreign war. And I think they just, obviously, they think someone like AOC or Ayanna Pressley, they don't expect any pushback on this. You know, they're all in. They're on Team Raytheon, as Tucker likes to say. They are all in on Team Raytheon and Team Lockheed Martin, and Team Biden. They want to keep sending billions of weapons, keep watching as civilians, dead kids get blown up by Russian missiles and Ukrainian missiles. They don't care. They're all in. They support the war machine. Well, my fellow hippies, my fellow anti-war types, they got all over AOC at this town hall. Can you imagine this? She does town halls. I'm sure in New York, they're all crazy left-wingers who show up. Probably, some of them are avowed socialists and communists, and, they're just hardcore, crazy, far-left lunatics. She didn't expect this. Well, they jumped ugly with AOC. Let's watch.
Congresswoman, none of this matters unless there's a nuclear war, which you voted to send arms and weapons to Ukraine. Tulsi Gabbard, she's left the Democratic Party because there are other war hawks, okay? You originally voted, you ran as an outsider, yet you've been voting to start this war in Ukraine. You're voting to start a third nuclear war with Russia and China. Why are you playing with the lives of American citizens? You're playing with our lives.
There will be no neighbors if there's a nuclear bomb. You voted to mobilize and send money to Ukrainian Nazis. You're a coward. You're a progressive socialist. Where are you against the war mobilization? He's telling the right truth. You have done nothing. Tulsi Gabbard has shown guts where you've shown cowardice.
Yeah.
I believed in you, and you became the very thing you sought to fight against. That's what you've become. You are the establishment, and you are the reason why everybody will end up in a nuclear war unless you choose to stand up right now and denounce the Democratic.
You go, man.
Will you do that? Yes or no? Okay, simple. Are you going to stop nuclear war? Yes or no? There is no line because this is
or
none of this matters if we're all dead.
None of it matters if we're all dead. You go, man. That's a guy, left wing. Not he's a black guy, right?
Yep.
Can't even tell. And he's so passionate and articulate. He's so right. She's looking at him saying, "Wait, you're supposed to support me. You're a crazy left winger. You're a person of color in New York City. I take you for granted. You're supposed to support me no matter what I do." And they're saying, "No, we're not on board for nuclear war, you friggin' idiot."
She was deer in headlight big time right there.
She's like, "What?" They don't expect.
Whoa.
I'm sure Ayanna Pressley's saying, "Well, they don't expect any pushback. They're voting to escalate a war to the point where we'll be involved and nuclear weapons may be used." And she thinks people will just fall in line behind her because, they love me on Instagram. I get lots of nice messages. Well, some people actually want to avoid war. You warmongering, lying lunatic. Anyway, we need more of that. Hopefully, the same thing happens to Ayanna and Cori Bush and the whole bunch of these warmongering squad members. All right, we got to move on quickly. Oh, shoot. What time is it? We got to get to our NFL picks. I might have to save the grandmother who had her leg ripped off by a pit bull. I might have to save that one for tomorrow, just so you're ready.
We'll go through it.
Let's get to, before we get to the NFL picks, I got to do this. And, Alejandro Mayorkas is the head of Homeland Security and an absolute scumbag. There are a lot of vile people in the Biden administration. This guy's the worst. And I'll ask you, since we're talking about Alex Jones and punitive damages or compensatory damages, what is this worth to the innocent, hardworking border patrolmen who were accused, obviously, by the media and scummy people like Ayanna Pressley and AOC of whipping migrants? It never happened. We all know it didn't happen. We know we didn't see any video of them whipping migrants. They had reins. They were trying to corral these criminals. They were doing their job, putting themselves in harm's way. They are heroes. And this is the reward they get from their bosses. Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas slandered and libeled them, smeared them for doing their job. That's the kind of scum they are working for. But we kind of suspected it. Now we know it. It's a fact. This is incredible. Incredible when you think about it. The report is, I think it's Bill Malugin from Fox, who reported this initially, that Mayorkas knew 2 hours before he went before this hearing, went before Congress. He knew that they didn't whip anybody. That was the conclusion. This was Malugin reports. Emails reveal Secretary Mayorkas was alerted by DHS top public affairs official that the whipping narrative behind horseback photos wasn't true. But at a White House press conference 2 hours later, he didn't refute the narrative, instead calling the images horrifying. He knew, he was told that didn't happen. They did an investigation. The Border Patrol men were innocent, and he went out and slandered them anyway. Okay, maybe it's not worth $1 billion, but what is that worth to these innocent Border Patrolmen? Why is Alejandro Mayorkas allowed to slander them, to lie about them, to cause them great pain? Why is he allowed to do that, but Alex Jones isn't? Can someone answer me that? Why? Why is one guy, we now know for a fact that Mayorkas knew it was a lie and pushed it anyway, and didn't just push it to advance his agenda, pushed it to ruin these innocent Border Patrol guys. This man is scum. January 21st, if the Republicans take the House and do not impeach this guy on day one, I'm going to be pissed. But let's listen to him and keep in mind, before this hearing, he knew they were innocent. It was, and so did Biden, by the way, and he went out and slandered them and didn't wait for any more facts, just said, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Someone's going to pay a price for this. For what? Doing their jobs, trying to control your wide open southern border? I mean, these people are just beneath contempt. Go ahead, play a little of it here.
I'd like to ask you about some very concerning images that were released yesterday that appeared to show Border Patrol agents whipping Haitian migrants. These acts certainly are intolerable and a complete diversion from your agency's mission. And my question to you is, can you explain to the committee what you'll be doing to address what Americans saw when looking at those images?
I'm very pleased you asked that question. It has been uppermost in my mind since I first saw the images late yesterday, Mr. Chairman. We commenced an investigation in my direction immediately. The Office of Professional Responsibility within the Department of Homeland Security's U.S. Customs and Border Protection, number one. Number two, we alerted the Inspector General of the incidents. Number three, I directed that the Office of Professional Responsibility be present on site in Del Rio 24/7 to ensure that the conduct of our personnel adheres to our policy, to our policies, to our training, and to our values. I was horrified to see the images, and we look forward to learning the facts that are adduced from the investigation, and we will take actions that those facts compel. We do not tolerate any mistreatment or abuse of a migrant, period.
Well, he is just vile. Honest to God, he knew they were innocent. God, I hope they could sue. You know what's amazing? Obviously, Alex Jones, again, unforgivable what he did. No sympathy for him. But who did more damage to more people? Pfizer, Fauci, Moderna, or Alex Jones? Pfizer is protected. They have immunity. You can't sue them. So if your kid is forced to get a vaccine to play high school sports, his heart stops and he dies, you can't sue. But if a crazy guy online somewhere at some weird website says, "Oh yeah, those weren't real kids who died," you could sue him for $1 billion. It's just the double standard is just so crazy. But anyway, we shall move on. Before we get to our picks, tip of the cap to Bob Kraft, an absolutely great guy. Donates $50 million to Mass General. I applaud him. That is commendable. I love the fact that the Boston Globe is forced to write about it. They have it buried. I'm looking at their homepage, their website right now. They got it buried beneath a bunch of things about January 6th in Mar-a-Lago. Where'd it go? I don't even see it up here anymore. Bob Kraft, because John Henry, the Pizzutis are so jealous of Bob Kraft. I do have a problem with it. Part of it is going to health equity. There's nothing good that's called equity. Equity is not good. Equity, we don't want equity. We want equality, Bob. Donate to health equality, not health equity. Anyway, a really nice gesture on the part of the best owner around, Bob Kraft. And you know what? Let's get to our NFL picks. Let's bring in Montante. There he is. What's up, Montante?
Battling adversity this morning. I'm on my second coffee. It's the first time I've had a sip of a coffee today. Sat down to open up my book, do my research, and the coffee went everywhere. I'm rattled. I'm rattled right now.
You didn't forget your charger again, did you? And drive 2 hours to get your charger?
4 hours round trip. No, I got that.
4 hours.
I'm actually real glad I didn't trust you when you texted me the games last night, because you typed out the lines wrong. You opposited me.
What for tonight's game? The line switch. It moved the point. That happens, Craig.
Right.
I know you're new to this, but that happens.
I checked as soon as you sent it.
Okay, who cares? I have one question again before we get to the picks. How the hell do you look at this weekend's game and not feel compelled to pick the Bills Chiefs, the best regular season game in years?
I called that one.
How are you not including that?
So Jerry, let me explain something to you here. It's about making money, not being entertained. Of course, I'm probably going to bet that game as well, but I'm trying to go 4-0 every week. I don't have a good feel on that.
What's your record for the season?
Right now, your intern's making up numbers out of nowhere. He's got me 14-9, which I appreciate. But if you're checking voter ID and we're doing this the right way, I'm 12-9 on the year.
So you're 12-9.
I got a couple mail-in ballots in North Carolina somewhere. He's got me at 14-9.
You don't get them all right. You just, obviously, there's a lot of things you don't know.
I could be 5-20 like Craig. Okay, let's be.
That's true.
Be nice here.
So you think that your good feeling really matters? Just pick the Bills Chiefs game. It's an awesome game. I'm picking the Bills. Okay.
No, off the record.
Off the record.
Grant, you hearing this? Off the record. This is just as bad as his over-under he wants to take tonight. I'm not letting you do it, Jerry. I'm not going to let you get away with this.
Right.
Rules are rules, and you started them all.
That's
All
correct.
Right. These are the four. Again, these are the rules. 4 games. There's 3 of them.
Communist Callahan.
The winner gets a Shea Concrete hat, a pound of Callahan coffee, and some slippers from My Pillow. How's that?
Sounds for me.
Montante picks the 4 games. It includes the Patriots. So this week it's Patriots Brown, Washington at Chicago. Who the hell would pick that game?
Well, it's that actually happens to be tonight's game, Jerry, and the foundation that you set out was Thursday night, the Pats, and 2 other games. So apology accepted. You're getting what did you age? Did you age 20 years since last week, Jerry? Getting senile on us.
Hey, is that on Amazon Prime?
Yes, every Thursday night game is. I actually kind of like Amazon Prime, but that's a different discussion.
That sucks. I hate Washington. I hate Chicago. Anyway, then Jacksonville at Indy.
That's a game. I knew that game would get you going. Yeah.
And then Dallas at Philly. Let's start with the Patriots. All right. The what's the line, Montante?
So we usually start. What's going on? Is he? Are you okay? We got to get you a cocktail. What they give to Joe. We do the Thursday night game every week. Thursday night. Start Thursday night. We have a.
Okay, you start.
Craig, control this guy. So we're going to start with.
Don't ask Craig. Craig adds nothing to the segment.
You've been pitbull. Look at. Are you kidding me? If anyone's been paying attention, I've made the most money for them in this whole thing.
That's correct. But order in the court. We're going to start with Thursday night football. We got the Redskins going into Chicago. I heard Lori Lightfoot might be flipping the coin today. So who gets the ball first? The line flopped. It started at Washington getting a point. They are now giving a point. Not a huge deal. Worst comes to worst, it pushes if it's a 1-point game. But I'm going to take the Redskins. Washington is 5-1 against the Bears the last 6 games against the spread. And right now, Chicago could have the worst roster in the NFL. And I just think it's going to be an ugly game. No one's going to enjoy watching it, but I'll take the Redskins plus -1.
I'll give you a couple of stats. This is amazing to me. The Bears average they throw 17 passes a game. This is like watching a high school team in the 1970s. The Bears, their entire roster has the same number of catches as Cooper Kupp.
Oh God, yeah.
Wow.
But I have to say, I'm going to pick with my heart because I hate Washington. I hate Ron Rivera. He's the coward who fined Jack Del Rio for telling the truth about January 6th. I hate Daniel Snyder. So I'm going to pick the home team. You're right, a super ugly game. I don't know how they track the ratings of Amazon Prime, but it'll be an all-time low. This game is going to suck, but the Bears will survive.
Both teams suck. The field in Chicago sucks, but they're used to it. So I'm also going with the Bears.
Oh, damn it!
There we go.
Damn
1-0. Not a bad
All right,
start. But
what's
now,
next?
Jerry,
What's next?
now you can go. Now you can go wherever you want. Now we got the format in. Where do you want to go? Second game.
All right, I'll go Patriots Browns. What's the line?
The line I'm getting is 2.5. The Pats getting in Cleveland. Pats
Are underdogs in Cleveland.
Correct.
I'll give you a couple of numbers that I found in my research. Cleveland defense has given up 444 yards rushing in the last 2 weeks. I will repeat what I said last week. The Patriots will win, and Ramondre Stevenson will be the star of the game. Think of this. The last 2 weeks, Belichick has had his way with Aaron Rodgers and Jared Goff. Now, Goff's no star, although Aaron Rodgers is. Now he has to face Jacoby Brissett, his former whatever backup. I don't think young Jacoby's going to fare very well. He choked away the game the other day. I think going against Belichick is too much for Jacoby, so I'm going with the Patriots. And by the way, last year, Patriots-Browns, 45-7. Mostly the same guys, same guys.
Craig, don't get into the over. I know you probably just had that urge right there, but I'm glad you resisted.
I'm not touching.
Jerry's reading my notes here. Cleveland's number 30 against the rush. Ramondre Stevenson's going to have a great day. Damian Harris, I don't know if he's going to play, but whoever the backup is, could be Jonas Gray randomly. They just have these running backs to run, rampant whenever they want. So I think New England getting 2.5 is good here. I'd honestly rather have Zappe, probably the best quarterback in New England, play. But Mac Jones right now is honestly probably playing for his career as a starter in New England. That's not an exaggeration. I sometimes say stuff like the Jets going to the Super Bowl is a joke. That is very serious. I think Mac Jones is on the hot seat.
That's stupid.
He
just went against the worst defense in the NFL. He had played a little ball control, didn't make any big mistakes. That doesn't mean he wins the starting job.
Mac Jones stinks.
Mac Jones stinks. So you have enough evidence to think that Bailey Zappi is good?
I've crunched the numbers. I've watched the tape. Mac Jones is very bad. And I'll tell you what, not to get off topic here, Craig, you got to give your pick. I'm shocked that he never got canceled for his Halloween costume at his freshman year at Alabama. If you haven't seen that one, good God. Craig, who do you like in this game?
I got to go with New England, plus 2.5.
All right. Another really exciting game Montate picked. Jacksonville at Indianapolis. What's the line, 1.5?
Right now, it is now -2. The Colts are laying 2 points at home against Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm going to go first. I'm going with the Colts because I don't believe in Trevor Lawrence at all. He stinks, and he'll never be good.
Well, I know
Mac Jones is better.
Do I have this right? The last time they played Montate, it was 24-0 Jacksonville.
Your Wi-Fi just absolutely botched out for me right there. But I think you referenced that earlier in the year they played and the Jaguars absolutely dummied the Colts.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going with the Jags for 2 reasons. They killed them last time, and Ironhead picked the Colts, so I'm going with the Jaguars. I'm never picking the Colts ever again. They suck. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually with. I don't like saying this. I'm with Craig here.
I don't believe in Trevor Lawrence at all.
It's tough to beat a divisional team twice in a year. Even when the Pats were absolutely running the NFL, best franchise in sports, the Jets would somehow split with them. I don't see Jacksonville beating Indy twice, and I know everyone's coming off of that fun game that we saw last week from a week from today. That was one of the worst games I've ever watched. That Denver Colts game. So everyone thinks Indy's boring. They probably are boring. They win this one maybe 9-6. But yeah, I'll take the Colts laying 2 points as well.
You picked some great games here this weekend.
It's about winning.
Right. Dallas at Philadelphia. Is this Sunday night or Monday night? When is this?
This might be Sunday Night Football, but it's definitely not the early slate. I'll tell you that. But it may be Sunday Night Football.
This is a good one. I normally hate NFC North or NFC East games, but Dallas at Philly. I hate both these teams, but I'm going with Dallas, who hasn't given up 20 points yet this year, and they faced the Bucks and Brady and both Super Bowl teams, and they've yet to give up 3 touchdowns in a game. Pretty amazing. I'm going with the Cowboys.
Quick
Philly.
pop quiz for you, Jerry. What's the line on that game? You're going Dallas what?
6?
6. It's actually up to 6.5, so that bodes well for you.
Okay, I'm taking the points. Go ahead.
Ironhead. I want to see where you go on this before I give my pick.
Well, Dallas is hot because they have a QB controversy. So until
Like New
that's
England.
resolved, I don't think they're gonna lose till Dak comes back. So I'm gonna have to go with Dallas.
Beautiful. I think my Super Bowl pick, and you guys mocked me, you guys ridiculed me when I said that it was going to be a scumbag off in the Super Bowl between Philly and Buffalo. Now it looks like they're on a collision course, and I think this is a statement game. Obviously, right now Dallas is riding hot. They're just embarrassed. The Rams. I don't think they can keep up with. I don't think they can keep up with Philly. I think they're going to score at will. I think that Philly wins this game double digits, and it may not be close.
How much money do you bet on these games, Montante?
Well, it depends how Saturday really sets the tone. If I go good in college football, we're putting, $150, $200 on a game. If we're doing bad and we have to run the Acme to put the change jar in there for my little gambling allowance, then we might be down to $25 a game. So
yeah, sort of like Ironhead. When Ironhead feeling good about a game, he goes $5. $5. Sometimes he goes like 6 if he's feeling maybe even $7. He'll feel
that was a big bet back in the Prohibition days. So listen, let's not
erroneous and false and bullshit. It's me.
Anything else before we let you go, Montante? I know you have lots of thoughts, and he's got lots of ideas. But
I'm not inviting myself on the show, but there's the stuff going on all around us. We still haven't talked about the Chilean elections. There's chaos all around the world. And once I get the opportunity, we'll come in and we'll talk more than just Jerry repeating himself every day. We got there's more stuff going on, Jerry. We got a lot of stuff to get to.
You got to slow down. I can't even understand you. Slow down.
You give me 10 minutes. I got to get squeezed in 30 minutes worth of material. I got to talk fast. What do you want? Give me more time next time. Thank you. Craig?
I'll give you all the time. I'll give you all the time you want. Well, we can do more time. I mean, you think I don't want someone else besides Ironhead to talk to?
I listened to the show. I know you have a time. You're very anal about this time thing. So we're already over 56 minutes. So I'm trying to do you a favor here.
As anal as I'm gonna be. Get ready for it. But anyway, there are reasons. There are reasons we have a time limit, and I'll fill you in on them at some point. But anyway, thanks, Montante. Have a good weekend.
Yep. I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
All right, that will do it. Pat's, what's tonight's game again? Oh, Washington, Chicago. What a sucky game.
4-0 this week for me. 4-0.
That bums me out. I look forward to these night games. I look forward to Thursday, Sunday, Monday Night Football. Just kicking back. And this game, I have no interest. Washington, Chicago. I mean, I now I do because I picked Chicago, but that sounds awful. Anyway, we'll and the Pats Brown, the whole slate kind of sucks. The Bills Chiefs. That's the only thing worth watching. But over under on Devontae Adams does he do jail time for pushing that fan? No, he does not. But he's in trouble.
If you watch there's a video from behind when he's walking, and the dude just kind of comes out and he kind of goes like that. Like it surprised him. I don't think nothing's gonna happen.
See, this is stupid. I know lots of people want him arrested. He's apologized. He should meet the guy. He should make a donation to his favorite charity. He should give him a jersey, maybe a couple tickets, and everyone can go home happy.
Right.
The idea that he's going to face criminal charges, that the guy's going to press criminal charges, who does that help?
Stupid.
Obviously, it was a stupid, emotional thing he did, but there's more violence in the stands, from start to finish of every NFL game than that. It just doesn't seem very constructive to suspend him for a game or two or whatever, or charge him criminally. Have a little photo op. He sits down with the photographer, again, signs a jersey, maybe gives him, a ball or something and a couple tickets. Everybody goes home happy. They shake hands. Wouldn't that make more sense?
Yeah, definitely.
That's my take on the Devontae Adams controversy. But that'll do it for today. Thanks to everybody for watching and listening. Thanks to our intern and market manager, Graham, and you too, Ironhead, and you too, Montante. I appreciate it. I'm Jerry Callahan.